Hello. Do you ever have a feeling like you can't say certain things to certain people, to your loved ones? Starting from your fly's open or you have bad breath to I feel really humiliated right now, or you're making a joke at my expense in front of our friends, or why are you backstabbing me in front of the kids? Do you feel you can't say these things, you're embarrassed in saying these things, or if you do say them, it creates a huge big rupture? Then I have a solution for you. Develop a secret language. Welcome to Potential State. My name is Dr. Assael Romanelli, and today we're going to be talking about developing a secret language to increase intimacy. So the idea is very simple, right? We need to develop code words, a secret language, which can be different with different people in our lives. And there's many, many benefits to having a secret language. The first thing it does, so for instance, I want to start with a great example, okay? The ultimate example, on the first date with my wife, Galit, she tells me, at the beginning of the day, we meet at a movie place, and she says to me, if we break up, if it's okay, I'll just call you so we don't have to meet again. And we can say about another day, but I was saying you're a great guy and it won't work. And then I said, you know what, why don't we just text it? And then we both laughed. And then we said, let's just text the word cheesecake. So on our first date, as we were trying to suss each other out, we developed a code word for you're a great guy or you're a great girl or a great woman and this is not gonna work, it's not you, it's me, blah, 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 blah. And all of that, which is tiresome and a bit falsy and schmaltzy, let's just call that cheesecake. Now, that word, thankfully, has never been used in our marriage, in our relationship ever since, but the idea, the concept of that, now why would I want to develop this? Why should you consciously develop more secret languages, secret code words? The first thing, it introduces play and spontaneity and potential state. So the second I'm saying to my partner, or for instance, we have another one, me and my wife, it's called carrot cake, which basically means, I love you, my dear, but your breath smells. Okay? So we've developed that throughout the years. So when I say, when we're in a dinner party or even just eating dinner or whatever, or we're in bed, and I say to her, my dear carrot cake. So the second I'm saying carrot cake, and I'm saying it a little bit silly, and it's a word that's out of context, what happens is I'm introducing some play. I'm taking a serious say, which is your breath smells, my dear, and taking it a little bit playful, a little bit silly, introduce a little bit of play, a little bit of potential state. It's also coming in light, which is basically telling I'm not here for war. I'm not like trying to stir up some trouble here. Let's just put that out there. Okay. Another thing it does, it saves face. So if we're at a dinner party or eating dinner with friends, I can just say to her carrot cake, and then she knows that something's happening here and she can adjust accordingly. So it saves face. It's a way of respecting my partner and finding a way to, like parents sometimes speak in a different language, right? Not all of us have that possibility, so we use a secret language. A third thing it does, it prevents trauma mind. It prevents things from getting really heavy. Why? Because the code word, especially if it's far away from what I'm actually talking about, forces the prefrontal cortex to think, oh, carrot cake and bad breath. So I'm always activating the frontal cortex, the upstairs brain, as Dan Siegel calls it, and it prevents me going into trauma mind, into getting heavy or insulted or to get triggered. And the second thing, it prevents ugly, verbal, kind of humiliating statements, like telling in front of people your fly's open or your breath smells. Or we have another code word, me and my wife, it's called blueberry. So when she meets her girlfriends, with me present obviously, and they go to the lowest common denominator, which is dissing their partners, and they kind of see, it's almost like a competition, whose husband or whose partner is the worst. You think your husband's lazy, my husband doesn't even do it. You think your husband's a mess, my husband isn't. And they just keep going more and more revealing into the stuff that you don't want to share. So we call this blueberry. So when Galit, when I'm with her and I see that she's going that place and I'm feeling a little bit humiliated, so I'm going to say to her blueberry, which is a code word that basically says, please stop. You're sharing too many intimate things about me and it's not funny anymore. So it prevents that trauma mind. The fourth thing it does, it increases intimacy because now we have a secret language. It's us against them. Blueberry, what does that mean? Nobody else knows. Shh, it's our little secret. Shh, it's our little secret. Right? And part of intimacy, what brings people together is that I'm not with the other. There's the other and there's me, and it's separate. The two last things is the fifth thing is it's a repair attempt. It's a way for me to come in peace. And the fact that even saying this to you as a code word and not as a blunt verbal like arrow actually means that I'm connected to my frontal cortex, which means I come in peace. Which is actually me waving a flag and saying, this is a repair attempt, this is something silly, something playful, I want to stay close. Because if I wanted to hurt you, I would jab you and say, you stink. And sometimes I want to do that sometimes, because we always hurt the ones we love. But on the days and the occasions where I don't want to hurt my wife, I'm going to use a code word, and by me using the code word, I'm signaling to her, I'm still in play. I'm not in trauma mind. And the last thing is, especially when you name it after certain people, and this is more from the professional context as a facilitator and teacher, I feel like a lot of times it gives them a sort of immortality. It gives them respect. They become a thing. And I'll give an example for that, for the last case. So I teach playback theater for the last decade. I've been teaching a weekly class every single Wednesday, and certain peoples have gotten certain things named after them. So for instance, if someone's on stage and they're just burning the stage, they're just bringing all the energy and they're not seeing anyone else, but it's coming from a passionate place, we call that doing an hadas. Hadas is an actress that she's very powerful, she just burns the stage. Or sometimes I'll develop a certain exercise and I'll name it after the person I named after. So there's one guy named Nahum, and one day he came back after a few weeks of he wasn't here in the class, and I kind of tailored a special exercise just for him, and I called it the Nahum. And from time to time I ask other participants, I say, students, do you want a Nahum? Now he initially didn't like that, but I actually explained to Nahum, this is a compliment, you are now immortalized in this group. There's an exercise named after you. So what we're doing is we're actually giving these people, saying you mean something. You mean something, you're actually an archetype, you know? You're an archetype for something that is different and unique, and I see that. Even if it's a little bit jabby, a little bit almost with a wink, but at least you're not a nobody, you're not just another number in this group. And then a year will come, and then to burn like Hadas becomes a comment, and even the next generation that never knew Hadas will still be saying that, and that's kind of immortalizing someone, which I think is actually very nice, because at the end of the day, I hope that people's legacy will live on after they die. So I gave you throughout the example, I gave you examples for me in my own marriage. So we have cheesecake, let's break up, blueberry, you're humiliating next to your friend, carrot cake, right? You have bad breath. But a lot of times we want to use a code word for situations. So for instance, I can't talk right now, right? Or the person we want to talk about is in the room. So for me and my wife, we have a code word which is called most probably. Most probably. So when one of us says it, let's say I'm asking her, let's say I'm at work or I'm next to someone and she's asking me, so how's it going? How's this meeting going? Okay, so instead of saying, I can't talk about it right now, which also will arise suspicion, I say most probably, and that's a secret code word. And once again, it's me and Gilead, it's me and my partner against the world. We got this, we'll talk about this later. I want to give a tip. In couples therapy, I do this a lot, especially regarding trauma mind, which will be a different episode. I'll talk about that on a different occasion. When I get triggered, when I'm losing my head, when my upstairs brain stops working and I'm going downstairs brain, I'm going to fight or flight, how do I signal that to my partner? Or how do I signal to my partner that I'm seeing him or her getting triggered? So many times, many couples will not feel comfortable saying trauma mind, you're in trauma, because that words gets thrown out all the time, thrown around, and it's not appropriate next to kids necessarily, and B, I can get defensive. So I always encourage them to find a code word. So instead of saying you're in trauma mind, this last couple I worked with, so he said she's gonna tell him red bus, because red bus, they have their own idiosyncratic story out of red bus. It reminds them of something else, I guess in London, and that makes him smile. So that's her code word when he gets triggered. And for her, the name was Tzipi. Tzipi is a name in Hebrew, and I guess that's some character that she once saw on TV that she thought was really funny. So now they have this secret code word, which is their way of saying, honey, I think you're getting triggered right now. Let's stop this conversation. But the fact that I'm saying it as a code word forces him to go into the upstairs brain, realize the metaphor. It's probably something that made her smile, like it's a funky, idiosyncratic term, and that way it kind of prevents the snowball effect into trauma. And one last thing, as a facilitator, many times as a theater director, as an improv director, I will use code words. For instance, heat. Heat, for instance, use the here and now of what's happening in the situation. Don't start acting from your brain. Or volume, which means raise your volume. So even as a working tool with teams or with groups, it's good to have these code words, and I don't have to always repeat myself. And it also gives the group a sense of we have a shared language. And shared language creates a shared identity creates cohesion creates intimacy, and the rest is history. So how do you do this? Tips, the practical tips. So first, choose one relationship where you feel comfortable or playful enough or curious enough where you want to try to apply this. Share with them this episode, have them see it or hear it, so they kind of get the language. Then choose a situation or a comment that you often find, that you guys often deal with. It can either be like a feeling that you're feeling. I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling humiliated, I'm getting trauma mind, or you're feeling that. It can be a certain behavior, like the example I gave with Gildit of you're humiliating me, or you're sharing too much information, or once again, you're not letting me speak, or hogging the stage. A certain situation that we feel that reoccurs in our relationship. It can be it can be a situation. Bad breath, flies open, you have something in your hair, something in your teeth. One more thing, you see this a lot where you say, did someone fall? And then you go like this, you finish the sentence and you leave your eyes, your mouth open, and then you know. You're basically saying to your partner, is there something in my teeth? But you don't want to say that in front of other people. Right? So it can be a behavior, a situation, or a feeling. And then choose a word. So once you have, let's say we want to talk about you hogging the stage. We're in a dinner party, and it's this situation where you get excited and it's all about you and you can't see me. So choose a word or phrase that makes you smile. That can be from a movie, from a food, a dance, a character, from a Disney film, whatever you want. So for instance, you can call it Roadrunner. Okay? So you choose a word, both of you need to agree on it. It needs to be a word that's not traumatic, it's not a trigger warning, but actually associates to something funny or interesting or something that brings a smile up to you. Then you agree, Roadrunner. Okay, so Roadrunner is my cue when I feel like one of us is not letting the other one speak. Okay, it's hogging the whole stage. Great. Then what you need to do, respect that code word. So Gottman's talk about 5-to-1, 5 yeses to every no. So once you start using Roadrunner, try to consciously go toward that code word. So when my partner says to me, Roadrunner, and even if I'm not feeling like I'm hogging the stage, I respect that. I go toward that and say, okay. I don't have to drop everything, but I'm saying to my partner, yeah, okay, I'm gonna tone it down. Or I can also say Roadrunner for when you're silent. I can say fish. And fish is my code word for where are you? You're leaving me here to dry, you're not saying anything, okay? So once my partner says fish, even if I feel like I am talking, I get it and I go toward that. And the reason I want to establish a lot of yeses, a lot of going toward that code word, so code words get cemented in the relationship. And then when she says to me fish and I say no fish, which means actually I'm here, I'm present, I just don't have anything to say, then my partner can understand that and won't create a whole rupture or drama, because we want to respect these code words. Because the more we have these code words, the more we have the secret language. The more we have a secret language, the more we have cohesion. And this is really important. And if my partner does block fish or Roadrunner again and again and again, don't get insulted or hurt or disappointed. Okay? Come up to them later and say, what's up? We have this code word, let's respect that. The fact that he or she, that specific moment, couldn't go toward that does not mean that that word is useless. So all of these things together, okay, preventing trauma of mind, increasing play, increasing intimacy, giving respect to people and things that we love, all these things together come in a secret language. And I wish for all of you to develop secret languages that fortify your relationships and make you feel more playful and free, authentic and differentiated. My name is Dr. Assael Romanelli, and this was The Potential State. I'll see you next time.